It's your first visit to Northern Ireland as Secretary of State. What have people been telling you?
Well, there's a clear message from both the business community and also the workers I've been speaking to that they want to see a deal. They want the certainty that will bring in terms of investment. There's huge optimism as to the potential to grow the businesses here. And people want to see the government and Parliament move forward with a deal with the certainty it brings. And that's been a very clear message both from small businesses and also some of the larger businesses I've been speaking to.
Are you more worried about the prospect of no deal after coming here?
But there's a very good illustration as to why we need a deal. When you look at businesses like this, you see those movements you refer to, Sophy. You see the fact that the workers come from both sides of the border. No one wants to see a return to the past. There's a very clear desire to ensure we continue to safeguard the achievements of the Good Friday Agreement. That's always been the clear commitment of the Prime Minister, is the clear commitment of the United Kingdom, and that's very much the wish of the community here. And they have a very clear message to members of Parliament across the UK that it is now time to get a deal, to move forward, and to allow them, the businesses here, to get on with what they do best, which is growing their business and creating jobs.
You clearly feel that a deal is really important. The government is bringing the same deal back again. What's the point? It's not going to get through.
I mean, it's self-evident and not. We've been in talks with the Labour Party. We've been exploring issues around workers' rights, environmental standards, what commitments can be given to Parliament in terms of the next phase of negotiation. It's worth reminding people that this is a deal that delivers on the referendum vote in terms of control of our immigration, control of our fishing, control of our agriculture.
I know you think it's a good deal.
But does so in ways that address the concerns you're referring to here, address the concerns of businesses on the border who are doing these journeys back and forth.
It's clear that you think it's a good deal. It's clear that you sincerely believe that this is the best option, but it's not going to get through.
Well, we'll see.
You have to face facts.
Well, that's the point, actually, that members of Parliament do need to face facts. And the issue so far is if the deal were not to go through, then there are only two other alternatives. You either don't leave, and I think that would be a huge betrayal to our democratic system. I think it would send a very bad message internationally in terms of the UK's reputation around the world. And any idea of a second referendum is just a proxy for revoke. It's for people that aren't prepared to be candid when they say they want a second referendum. What they really want is to revoke. They're just not prepared to say it. And so we either leave with no deal, or we revoke, or the far better option is to actually leave with the certainty of what the community here and many others are saying, which is with a deal.
So is that your preferred option then? If the deal doesn't get through, you'd prefer to leave with no deal?
Well, I've always said that to revoke the biggest democratic decision in our history would be disastrous. I think it would be fundamentally wrong. And so whilst I've always been clear with my colleagues that I think a no-deal outcome is disruptive, I think there'd be clear concerns in community like this around the consequence of no deal. But if Parliament won't back a deal, then it needs to confront that reality. And I do think we then, in that instance, need to bring forward our preparations to mitigate no deal, because that will need to use the additional time we have, and we will need to move at pace to do so.
Has it been a bit of a frustration to you that those preparations for no deal have not been continuing apace, as you put it?
Well, there's a huge amount being done in government, and my department has been at the heart of that in terms of preparing for no deal. Now, what's worth remembering
has it been taken seriously enough, do you think?
Well, we need to do more and use the time that we have, the additional time we have, to prepare further. But it's worth remembering that part of the challenge is the fact that a lot of that preparation is with third parties. It's with third parties in terms of businesses or with other member states. And part of the difficulty has been that Parliament has voted to take no deal off the table, and therefore, understandably, businesses then question whether it is worth preparing for something if they think that Parliament is going to stop it.
You need money from the Chancellor as well,
But the Chancellor has allocated money. The issue is that there is no guarantee that the EU27 will grant an extension. That isn't a UK decision on the 31st of October, so that would be a matter for the EU. So we do need to prepare for no deal and ensure that we use the time we have to mitigate any disruption as best we can.
Donald Tusk, the President of the EU Council, when that extension was granted, had a message to politicians in the UK, didn't he? He said,
was this a hell one
please
or a different
don't
one?
waste this time. Within that period, the talks have failed with Labour. The deal has just been brought back again with no sign that it's actually going to get through this time. And now it looks like the Conservative Party are about to embark on another leadership contest. Is that really using the time wisely?
I mean, the fact is the government has reached out. It has recognised we don't have a majority. You say yourself, Sophie, there's some of my own colleagues who, despite being Brexiteers, have refused to back leaving and ensure we would have left by now.
So what have you achieved then
Well,
in that
we've reached
extension?
out, and we've reached out, and we've sought discussions. I think progress has been made. The Prime Minister has been clear that there has been progress in the talks.
But the fundamental
issue for the Labour Party to decide is it prepared to do a deal, or is it the case that too many of their MPs now will refuse any sort of deal because they want a second referendum?
Is it time for a new leader for the Conservative Party?
Well, the Prime Minister has set out the timescale in terms of her own role, and I think what's been clear from the messages I've had from the community I've been speaking to is how much they appreciate the commitment the Prime Minister has made to ensuring no hard border in Northern Ireland, to the UK's commitments under the Good Friday Agreement. And when I was meeting with staff, there's a real recognition that the Prime Minister has paid a significant personal price. She's sacrificed her premiership in order to fight for a deal to safeguard the commitments in terms of the border here. So the Prime Minister set that out. She's committed to securing a deal. She's then, with the 1922 committee, as you well know, set out the process there. But the key issue for the Prime Minister, for the government as a whole, for the community here, for businesses like this, is to see if we can leave with a deal, because that's what they want to see happen.
It feels as if everybody almost on the Conservative benches is about to throw their hat in the ring. So this is your chance. Are you going to rule yourself in or out?
Well, the good thing about my job is I have so much to do. I don't need to be posing in kitchens and doing things. What we've got to focus on.
So can you rule yourself in and out? Let's be really clear.
What I am doing is focusing on getting the deal over the line. That is what is our priority. That's a priority for my department. Is absolutely core to what we've set up to do.
So can you rule yourself out?
The clue's in the name, Sophie, which is exiting the European Union. I campaign to leave. I support leaving. Every opportunity I have voted to leave. It's important we leave for a deal. That's a clear message from communities like this, and that is what I'm doing, and that is what I'm 100% focused on. Anything else is premature. I would say to my colleagues, focus on the day job, concentrate on what is before us, ensure we deliver on what we promised to the public, ensure that we leave.
So you're not ruling yourself out?
So I'm focused on the job. So it's all premature.
Okay. Do you think Boris Johnson would be a good Prime Minister?
Oh, I think all of my colleagues have talents. It will be for others to weigh up which of those takes primacy. But I think the key issue is that we ensure that Jeremy Corbyn is not Prime Minister, because I think if you look at the plans he's bringing forward on nationalisation, if you look at the plans he has to wreck our economy, his position in terms of national security, I think it'd be a complete disaster for our country. So any of my colleagues would be preferable to an outcome where we risk a Jeremy Corbyn government.